Well, hello, fellow adventurers, and welcome to Lucinda's Adventures, previously Organized Planner Chic. So, if you're not familiar, I recently changed my channel name. Lots of planning, journaling, all that good kind of fun stuff, and then also some other adventures like camping and car camping and all of that. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to talk about bullet journaling, what I am doing right now, what has evolved, what I'm kind of not doing anymore, and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, July is where we are. I did decorate this page, and I want to take note of the tools that we have right here. So basically, actually, let me show you every little tool that I mainly use whenever I bullet journal these days. So actually, I don't usually use these for anything, so I don't know why they're here, but they looked really pretty in my in my thumbnail. Because most of the time I don't do stickers these days. I mostly doodle or just use color. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But this is a really inexpensive set of brush pens that I got from Amazon. Very inexpensive. They are in my Amazon store. I like that there's so many different color options. The brushes don't last as well, maybe. Like, see, this one's kind of frayed at the bottom, kind of rough, as maybe some more expensive ones, but I may have just used this color a lot too because I really do like it. But I feel like for the price, they're really good. So I tend to use these most of the time when I bullet journal, even though I do have Tombow dual brush pens. I do also have what I love, Crayola super tips. I have those as well, but when I really need a good brush tip, super tips aren't my favorite for that case. So a lot of times, and they bleed a lot on thin paper like this, which we'll talk about as well. And then just a simple ruler. When I don't have a ruler, I'll just use anything as a straight edge. And then occasionally there might be something that I want to pencil in, so I'll have a pencil. And then just whatever pen I'm using, which let's move you guys over to the side. Which right now what I have in my pen cases, which I did this in the March video, a March Chatty video for bullet journaling. I talked about these pen loops, and I did a short of how to make these DIY pen loops with duct tape. So in the very front of there, which by the way, I'm just using an old Dollar Tree Traveler's Notebook. I love these. I hope they keep bringing them back because it's been a while. But I have this really inexpensive 0.5 because that's my favorite tip. I have this really inexpensive pen that I got from Daiso, but it is a true 0.5 because a lot of times they say that, like if you go to Dollar Tree, it'll say it's 0.5, and I'm like, this is not 0.5, but this really is a 0.5 tip, and I really love that. So I have that. And then I have, and it's actually it's probably a little bit finer than some other ones. So I have that. And then I have on the other pen loop a pen with multiple ink barrels. And it has, I got this from Daiso as well. It came in a set of 2. And there's one is 7. One is a 1.0 millimeter and one is a 0.7. They are almost the same, so it really doesn't have any significant difference. But it also has a blue and a red, and I believe those are in 0.7. So I most of the time don't need that pen, but I have it there because, you know, a pen will run out and you've got a backup, right? So I drew this. Oh, I did forget another item that I use, what I actually outline this with. So I drew, I'll pull that out here in just a moment, but I drew this little doodle. I just wanted something pretty for this July with those tip pens, these dual brush tip pens, which I forgot to mention. It's brush right there, and then it's got a little fine tip, and it's a really good fine tip on here. That's a good quality right there. So I use those to draw this doodle, and then I use this pen that I'm going to pull out here in a second to outline it. And then I had this extra space because it wasn't really centered down here, so I just decided to write a little something. Hot temps, cool ideas. Okay. So this time to outline the doodle, I used a Pigma Micron in 02, and sometimes I'll use a Tombow drawing pen as well. Something that is designed like this for drawing for outlining or for doing line work. And so that is the other tool that I typically use. So just the ones that I mentioned. And then, so this month I did do the title page, but last month I did not. I only used color. So I was kind of switching things up. So I just, for June, that's all I did for the title page. Yeah, because it was a crazy month. But other months, let's see, let's go to May. Because I believe I did do a title page for May. Not May, obviously. But I had some like monthly goals up there. And things didn't work out. It's a long kind of story of what was going on at that time. So I decided not to do that going forward because it was just disappointing. I feel like I do better by just setting them up for the week. But in April I did. And I actually had a pretty good fair month. Let's see, I got, I got half of the monthly goals done when I did that. But I did doodle it, and I used just 2 colors, it looks like, no, 3 colors. I used this pink and that same, no, it was a different yellow. Yes, this yellow. And yeah, and the purple. And so I did do a title page that month. So it just depends on the month, what I've got going on, what my mood is. I feel like it's more important that I have pops of color than I necessarily have doodles, because I want to be productive, and that's the most important thing. But I love color, and I don't like just a black and white page. I just don't. I'm less likely to want to do what I need to do. That's just me. So for my monthly spread, I did use colors, and I do have room to do some doodles, so we'll talk about in a moment, but I just use this same set of colors. So I try to find like 3 normally that kind of work together, but I don't want to use the exact same 3, because then I feel like I'm not diversifying myself and it's boring, and then I'm going to feel like I'm in July, but I'm really still in April, if that makes sense. So these are the colors that I chose. I felt like they worked well together for summer. They made me think of the beach ball, summer clothes, that kind of thing. So, and then of course we've got the days of the week. Now this insert is not the same one as I had here. So this is a Dollar Tree insert, but it is the insert that comes with and this is just a bookmark that I made a long time ago that I still love. But so this insert is the one that comes with the Dollar Tree Traveler's Notebooks. They come together, and it is perfect for having 3 lines in each date on the calendar. It is exactly like made for that. This other one is for July, is also from Dollar Tree, but it's not one that came in the Traveler's Notebook. It's just one of those ones that have a decorative color that are lined. I just happen to cover that. And so it's not perfectly set up that way. So you do have, this header, and then I used 3 lines for each date, but then it left me 1 extra line there, and that's okay. So I have room here to doodle. And so what I want to do is just kind of see as the month goes, because today is the 1st of July. And just maybe I'm thinking I want to put some sort of quote that I run across this month, or something someone says that I hear, or something that I read, or just something that is on my heart that I highlight and put there. And then I can do the same thing here, or do a doodle as well. So that gives me time during the month to kind of let myself feel what I want to do. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. So I've got all my stuff already on there, and I have a place here to do notes. I very rarely use this part. I have before though, so I want to leave it there. Yes, so I did some, okay, I was finishing there because Easter was in April, and then I was trying to visit a neighbor each week, and so I believe it was March that I had more books that I read, because I was trying to do that in the evening instead of watching television. So yeah, so there are times where I do use that. And now we come to the weekly pages. So what I used to do prior to this month, I would just do 1 week, and then sometime during the week I'd start setting up the next week. But then there'd be a really busy week, and I wouldn't have time to do that, but I still needed my calendar, so I would really just use the monthly spread and not even note or, do things that I needed to write down on the other weeks. And so, or at least 1 week, there'd be a crazy week, and I would just skip that week. And so I would just go by my monthly calendar and not take notes or that kind of thing. And so what I decided last month in June was to just write out, was to set up every single week when I set up the week. So I set everything, all of these weeks up at the beginning of June. The dates were there, the colored boxes were there. I filled in, and I did this part again this month. So what I'm getting ready to tell you is whatever was on the calendar here for the month, I put in those appointments ahead of time in these weeks. Man, and you might think that takes a while. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Especially if you're just using pops of color and not creating a doodle on every page. It does not take long. And you just kind of get in the routine. You write all the dates, like you write Monday through Friday. Then you go back and you write the days on the calendar. Then you go back and you draw the hearts or whatever. Then you go into, and it just becomes sort of a system. And so it worked out, because then when I'm having a crazy week, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about trying to set stuff up because it's already set up. But I also still have this canvas to doodle on. Yeah, so what I'm planning on doing, because today is the 1st, and I was getting ready to do this video, so I'm going to doodle for yesterday today. So like either the night that a day ends or the following morning, I want to doodle whatever open space I have. And that way I know I have either a lot of space or a little space, like I have more space here, and I'll just do a little doodle. So today I'm going to go ahead and do a doodle with you guys on the phone, with you guys on the video. So we'll go over that, but real quick. So I chose a color for the days of the week, a color for the calendar day, and then I'm just doing hearts all the time, because then I don't have to think about it, but there'll be different colored hearts each time. Of course, I'll put a check mark as I complete something, and then this is where I'm recording all my physical activity. I used to track more stuff, so I want to show you some pretty spreads for April. So I used to track here in April, my calcium intake, my book pages that I read, my tax prep, but then taxes are over. Tax season is over, so I've done that, so I don't need to track that now. My calcium, I've tracked it enough to know how much I'm getting depending upon how much I eat, so I don't need to write that down anymore. And now I'm in a theology class and a Bible study class at my church, so I'm not tracking my book reading pages because I'm reading a ton. Okay, but I decorated, see, I had these teacups that I drew on there for that, and I would put medical notes on the back of this that I don't want to share. And so the only thing that I'm and I would write down everything that I ate and then total the calcium and then record it here. Well, I don't need to do that anymore. Praise the Lord. But you know, that's the great thing about bullet journaling. You have the opportunity to do those things. And so also, and I used to track my pain management, but my pain management is really good now, so I don't really need to track that. But if I need to return to that one day, I can. And then so also on these weeks, I used stamps and colored that in instead of sketching, because I had a little less time. It was during Lent. So back to July, I am just tracking my physical activity, which I was doing that too. I didn't show that page, but I also had that on those pages as well, as what I do every day for physical activity, because it won't be exactly the same every single day. Yeah, and then I've got all my appointments on there, and then I have room to doodle. So I just set that up all the way for the end of the month. So now I want to go ahead and doodle, and then I just wrote August. I did some other months do like a monthly summary, but a lot of that stuff that I was doing was already tracked elsewhere electronically. So I was like, you wasting time, girl. Quit doing that. So now I'm going to go ahead and now I decided, because I feel like there's kind of a lot of bleed through in here, or more shadowing, and I just don't want to add to that in this calendar. So I decided what I'm going to use instead of the brush pens is I'm going to use my favorite brand of color pencils. Can you guess what that is? Prismacolor. Yeah, so I'm just going to doodle a cute little flower. And now it becomes the question of what color do you use? So I think I'm going to do a little combination of these two. And yeah, let's see how that turns out. that's enough right there. Now I may later today say, because I know how I am, may later today or during the week think, girl, it's a spot right here and there's all this blankness, and I can, if I have time, or if I'm inspired, or I'm in some boring situation, or I'm waiting in line somewhere, I can do that. Yeah, so the possibilities are endless. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and comment and share. It really helps my channel a lot, and it tells the YouTube algorithm to recommend my videos. You guys, please take care of your soul, your spirit, seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and take care of your bodies, because we only get one. All right, you guys, continue to pray for me, and I'll continue to pray for you. And until next time, happy adventures.